It looks remarkably similar to a microwave for, obvious reasons. Hi, I'm Rich from North Rose Coffee. Quick video, an explanation of one of the tools we use that are very important in retaining consistency in roast profiles across time. This particular piece of equipment is called a color track. It's a tabletop laser color analyzer, so specially built for the coffee industry. And what it does, we put either ground or bean samples inside this circular dish. It rotates. It looks remarkably similar to a microwave for, obvious reasons. It's the same case, same functionality, but the laser is the difference. So it'll sit on a turntable and rotate. We will get feedback on the iPad through an app, and it will analyze the color and consolidate it into a single numerical value that we attach to the roast. The other thing that's really important is we have benchmarks that we can calibrate to make sure that this measurement tool has not drifted out of scope, so that it's calibrated correctly every time. And the way we do that is we take one of the big commercial cans of coffee where they have 100 years of experience roasting at the same level across tens of millions of pounds a year. And we use that as our benchmark. So when we start a day of analyzing, we will calibrate using that sample so that it should measure the exact same measurement every time. And then we know, okay, our benchmark is correct. And therefore, what we can tell as well about our own roasting is that our Guatemala Antigua measured 58 last time, and it measured 58.25 this time. Is that within our acceptable meat? Yeah, that's acceptable. But if it measured 64, but it looks right to us, we'd be like, okay, the machine's out of calibration. Let's run the benchmark test again and make sure that it's dialed in. This machine measures after the fact. It measures what we did that day. It does not measure the roast in real time. ColorTrack does have a version that shoots a laser into the roaster and tells you what color it is at that particular moment. I'm not interested in that. I don't really believe in that because in my feeling is it pulls skill and knowledge away from the coffee professional and puts it in the hand of the technology. This measures it after we roasted. After we did our absolute best, we're measuring how'd we do and how consistent are we. I think that's a really important factor. It's not telling us what to do, it's measuring what we did. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna analyze a roasted sample. This is actually from a very well-known European coffee roaster. This is a light roast according to their definition. You can see the data starting to show up, and you see it's like a column. It's not spread wide. When we do the same sample analyzed in bean form, you'll see a lot more differentiation, and the graph itself will be broader, more outliers. We have a final value of 57.26 on the ColorTrack scale. Okay, so next I'm going to put the same beans in. I'm gonna flatten it out, and we will get another reading. based on that. I expect that we will see a much wider graph, and instead of the data showing up in a pretty straight column, you can see how broad that is, that you get a lot more outliers when you're just measuring beans. In all instances, it's better to measure the ground coffee so that you get a more accurate. But if you know coffee, you know there's an expectation that you're going to get this sort of distribution in any measurement. So the numerical value for the roasted is 60.68. And I can tell you yesterday when I measured it, it measured 60.95 and 52.82 ground. I'm next going to try another well-respected European coffee roaster. We'll measure their light roast. I guess sort of the underlying theme of this video is you're not going to get uniformity in measurements. They're not going to measure the same, but they're both going to have the same description as light roast. The point is that unless you are creating a numerical definition of what your light roast is, it's really subjective. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just when customers come in and say, I'm looking for a light roast, it means absolutely nothing, because the light roast they may be familiar with in their home city is nowhere near the light roast that we do. The reason we don't have a lot of light roasts listed on our website is because the measurements that are coming from the very well-respected European roasters, light roast, measures our medium. So we call a light roast a medium roast. Other roasters who call it light roast are going to say, oh, that's where it belongs. It is where it belongs, but my interpretation of it is that's a medium roast. The reason is our dark roast is way lighter than everyone else's dark roast. You know, so the whole scale is slid towards light. We're going to do another measurement, this time from one of England's most famous roasters. A little bit broader distribution than we saw with it's definitely wider. It's not as much of a column. You see, it's real-time digital feedback. I've got a measurement of 5209. Even though the distribution of that mapping was significantly broader, the value is actually quite close. Now, when we do this in bean form, we are going to get a really broad distribution. It's going to be a very wide graph. Let's do this one now. I expected you would see a very broad distribution of measurements. So right from very light to moderately darker. So that measurement is 58.03. What I see is the differentiation between ground and roasted is anywhere from 6-7 points. Here's where the interesting analysis comes. There's another system in coffee called Agtron. So this is a very old color tile, Agtron color tile. Agtron does have a machine that also measures using light, but these color tiles are a very good approximation. And then as well, the descriptions are really interesting. The ColorTrack coffee analyzer creates a legend so that you can compare results from Agtron and ColorTrack and understand how one number relates to the other. So according to ColorTrack, a 50 to 55 on ColorTrack scale goes roughly 50 points on Agtron. So 50 points on Agtron would put it right here, right between medium and moderately dark. Well, that's a light roast. And so the point of the video is one roaster's light roast is another roaster's medium roast, is another roaster's medium dark roast. And so what is far more instructive is to say to your coffee professional, I'm looking for jammy, fruity acidity with a full body and a, heavy mouthfeel, than to say, I'm looking for a light roast. Because light roast reveals nothing to the person roasting your coffee. Because the first thing I hear is, who's light roast? And there is no definition that exists of really a widely accepted light roast. Now, Nordic style of roasting is known to be an extreme light roast just after first crack. And so just after first crack, we're gonna fall, somewhere around here, but that's still light medium. It's not a light roast, according to long-standing traditions. This color tile scale was produced in 1995. It's not to say one roaster's right, another roaster's wrong, we're right, they're right. No. It's, the whole point is there's broad interpretation of what light, medium, dark means. I think understanding your palate and descriptors is far more instructive. Hopefully this was instructive and informative. Showed you a little bit of the tools that we work with. We've got lots of different things we work with. Thanks a lot for watching. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll get back to them and we'll see you next time.